Hello, and welcome to the aftershow for Stargate Horizons. Can you save the children? We saved the children.
Saved the children.
You did save the children.
Do they know it's Christmas time?
It won't be snow on that planet, probably. Who knows? I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to be great. I look forward to seeing where the poll ends up. When's it closing?
Tomorrow. So, by the time people are watching this after show, it's already closed.
Perfect. Then we shall find out what the
1313. People are just trolling me now.
I purposely don't look
Changing
at
their
the poll.
votes.
Are they even split still?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
even
but if
again.
you tell people how terrible it is that there's a tie and how, like, this is, oh no,
Then they want
they're
it.
Gonna,
No, I know how people work. My job for a while was to manipulate people into doing what I want. And now it is still my job, but in
I was
a
about to say
different
you're GM. That's, yeah.
a GM, a streamer, a teacher, they're all functionally the same. They're at their core.
That's why teachers keep going into RPGs.
AKA cat herding.
Yeah, it is. I had fun. I had fun playing the various children. I'm glad you all find Akara as precious as I did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The car was great.
Except you keep calling her Akira.
I want to keep Akara.
She's the
Yeah,
Cassandra.
it's like, you're not going to adopt her if you can't say her name right.
Yeah, that's a requirement. You have to say her name
It's
right.
different when you pronounce it properly in Gould.
Uh-huh.
Of course.
Yeah, that's like a likely excuse. A likely excuse. There were some wonderful dramatic cinematic moments in that fight, which I really
There
enjoyed.
were
Worked out quite well.
like
Yeah,
iconic
like
TV
Rain's
moments where you're
new
like, oh
strategy.
yeah, of course it happens that way.
Unlike
Yeah,
your
I mean, some of
strategy
it
of
was
just
'cause
keep
you
shooting
roll-
till they die.
You rolled the one. You wouldn't have been snuck up on. Like Zir probably would have still been captured, but you wouldn't have been snuck up on. So like you would have been able to go after him with the rest of the group.
It's very
Had you
thematic
not-
though for Kang. Like Kang is, unlike Malik, Kang is competent yet still ends up captured and or lost, just through no thought of her own. It's just
Well, it's
the
because
Kang
she's like
Oh my
protecting
God.
other people who are not competent,
yeah.
like children and Malik.
Hey,
So, like children.
pretending to be Malik was actually beneficial for us all. So
It was.
You were
Yes.
more
It
successful
the
Malik than
Malik
Malik.
strategy does work.
Channel the Malik.
It worked. I was like, all right, this worked before for Malik. Let's just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad the sleight of hand thing worked because I was like, man, I am not a sleight of hand person.
It's very cool.
That was a solid.
I like how we use the live radio strategy twice in this planet.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
It's a good way of doing it. It's like, oh hey, we're now listening in on everything that's happening. Let's work out where they are. It was good.
In the future, we have to be like, oh, this isn't a weapon. This is I use this to dig.
This is my
Yeah,
lunch.
so that's like,
Pew, 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 pew,
like
pew.
drop your weapon.
Tiny
Like,
holes.
damn it! How does this doesn't look anything like a staff or a zat?
I use
I
this
don't
to
know.
dig
They
tiny
do look a
holes in
little
the
bit like
ground.
Zats. Zats have the handle and like a vague triggery
Yeah, but
area.
zats you hold like that because they're weird.
It's true.
Because it's like a
Solid.
zigzaggy thing.
Mm.
It's
I think they
true.
still
Not very
recognize them
dumb.
like weapons because you're carrying them like weapons.
Yeah,
You
that's
are-
the main thing is we're carrying
Yeah.
them like weapons. It's good though because they like drop your weapon and I drop it and I'm like, I still have a pistol on
Also,
me.
they do
Yeah.
meet other
Eventually they
cultures
might
who have
figure it out.
weapons, and all weapons do look vaguely similar. Like a lot of the other humans who have weapons in the Stargate universe have vaguely gun-like weapons for whatever reason. So I guess they are familiar with weapons in general.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah. There's an element of when someone's holding something in a certain way and like you're pointing it right. They understand like the general concept of what could be a weapon, whether or not they understand how the weapon works. Right? They can you can understand one without understanding the other.
Yeah, they probably
go
know how to
tell you
reload it.
drop your weapon. They don't necessarily know that this lump on your side is a weapon.
Hmm.
Especially when, quick capture Kang and quick move her rather than like taking the time to strip search
Yeah.
or go through her belongings or anything.
I also like the rapper thing where, because like she doesn't understand the culture and she's like, so they put rappers inside of another rapper?
Then we throw that away.
She's great. I really like her. But yeah, Bev I think is my favorite.
He was so good. He was the best guy.
Did I not do
He
a
was
good
so
job
good.
of watching?
So cute.
Oh dear.
You did such a good job. We need to let other people have a go, Beb.
Oh, okay. Like he was 5. He was a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Is it-
Yeah, on that note, I tried to do a lot of digging to figure out exactly at what point the immune system thing kicks in with Jaffa, and I read 2 very conflicting things. One basically suggested that until they go through the ceremony, which makes, because they're not born with a pouch, they're not born accepting symbiotes.
They're born with like the beginnings of the pouch, right? And it develops.
Maybe there's like something on the inside, but like, because you remember that weird Hathor episode where a bunch of the humans get turned into Jaffa for Hathor?
They like do some surgery thing on them though, right?
No, that's only for the Hathor one because they turn. That's how the initial Jaffa are made.
Yeah,
okay.
But
But
Jaffa
they
generally are
still-
born with bits that turn into.
They might, yeah, there's probably an element of it, but they're also like functionally still don't have one. And so then they create it and then they put a symbiote in. And so the issue that happened with Ryak in that episode is that Teal'c interrupted the getting of the symbiote. So it was unclear whether or not he would have had those problems like with his immune system regardless. And so there's some that seem to suggest that the ceremony is like the final nail in the coffin on not having an immune system or getting your first, or it's getting your first symbiote. Or it's just that they're born with a bad immune system. And it's like, they probably wouldn't survive very long. So maybe their immune system degrades over time. So it's not very clear in terms of biology.
It's possible. I mean, if you are going to have kids develop, you probably don't want to mess too much with them prior to puberty because that could mess up a lot of things.
Right.
But then you could have them develop over the course of puberty. And that point, that if you're doing weird stuff like making them stronger, tougher, fitter, etc., like Jafar are, you could have that might affect the immune system and kill it off.
Yeah. And it may be that, like, because if you think about Stargate canon, like, they're still like, we need to get symbiotes or we're reliant on the humans. And that could just be referencing to the large swath of adults that are currently alive, which would certainly be true for. And many of the teenagers may be like, I still want this because that's how I'm going to live 150 years. Otherwise, they die at, like, normal human ages. And they don't have cool immune systems. Like,
It would also make sense because they do have that issue that they mention that they've got too many symbiotes. And they're like, but we don't have that many Gould. Where are the symbiotes going? They find out later on that the Gould are just like eating symbiotes now. Which makes sense that if all Jafar needed a symbiote, they have to give them symbiotes. And then you get all these adult symbiotes and you're like, we don't want to have this many Gould. Nom, 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 nom. Whereas if they didn't
but I mean,
need to give
even
symbiotes,
if it's only every Jaffa adult, because like that's what
Yeah.
makes them good soldiers, is that they are so much more durable because they have
They're
symbiotes.
cannibals.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
But technically, the human host is eating it. They're vicarious cannibals.
I mean, the Gould is still getting the rendered down nutrients or something eventually.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That's why they're all so evil. They all have prion disease.
It's not the sarcophagus, it's actually just prion disease.
It's just prion disease. That would be a delightful twist. So it's unclear, like from the original canon,
The
exactly.
sarcophagus makes the prion disease worse because it regenerates the prion disease.
Right. That would totally make sense. It's both.
Which is why the
And then we're
the
like, oh,
Toker
you're
are
just
like-
idiots.
The Toker are
Stop
fine
eating
because they
them,
don't
stop
eat
being ill.
symbiotes, so they don't have prion disease, and they don't use the sarcophagus. So, even
So
if
the
they
minimal
did,
prion disease they have doesn't get worse.
I think they would only, yeah. Anyway, so it's unclear from the actual canon how that biology works, and I think from the perspective I would take is it would make sense if, right, this like they potentially have a weakened immune system, but not an ineffective one, and so they'll likely need some sort of medical treatment, but kind of on the level of someone who has a like you could survive for the rest of your life with it.
See,
And
the
then-
reason I'd probably swing against that is because of the Tritonin angle that they have later on.
Yeah.
Is because they're like, we need to find a replacement for symbiotes. Whereas if it was a case of, oh, the next generation don't need them, we just need to raise them without symbiotes, is they could be like, well, there's going to be Gould around for a few more years, we could probably survive for a few years, and then the next generation will be fine. And the Jafar are
Yeah.
very much that sort of sacrificing people, they'd totally be okay with that. But they definitely reference repeatedly that they need a supplement.
But yeah, I mean it's
But
unclear.
that's
So
'cause
like
they don't know they can live without symbiotes. They think they have to get one at
It's the sort of thing that they would
Hey.
probably vaguely know, because it would like happen in war zones or places devoid from the Gould, or when people are separated or whatever. It sounds like something they probably know just from use.
It's kind of unclear. So in terms of how many like the kids will need, I don't know. I know the 2 oldest ones will.
They would need them for years.
The rest of them were either on that cusp age or like hadn't gotten. They weren't old enough for it.
Well,
so.
This is gonna be an interesting situation. Also, we have a new person. What was his name?
Yeah,
You don't have a name for him yet.
Yeah, we meet this new guy who's boring and terrible probably, and we're like, so, we've got 20 kids for you to work out what to do with. Welcome to the SGC.
Also, I'm adopting them.
Some of them are aliens. He's
Also, I'm
adopting one.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a chat with you guys afterwards about what I'm thinking then the start of the next episode is gonna look like, and see if we're all on board with that. Because I think it'll be fun.
I imagine that like Garrick would be like, I want to adopt them, and they'd be like, Garrick, you can't look after them all the time, and be like, Bang, do you want to co-adopt a child?
Yeah, but there's like 20, so we can't adopt them all.
Rain, Matt, Rain.
Malik counts as 2 people. He can adopt.
Yeah, do you want to trust children with Malik?
You can trust them in Raziel, though.
Ooh, is Raziel good with children? Probably not. I don't think the Tok'ra have to deal with children.
That's a good point.
He's probably equally as mystified as Malik is. Like, this is a bonding point. They're like, what do you do?
Malik is the kind of person who, if you hand like a baby with like a dirty nappy to, they'd be like, I don't know what to help. I'm competent, but this is not my area. Help.
Malik
Figure it out, but he's not interested in kids because
he's interested in artificial intelligences.
Smelly. They don't have like it's that whole Jurassic Park conversation at the beginning. Like, I don't want kids. They smell. They're dirty. They smell. Like all of that.
They don't follow directions.
Yeah.
They can't hold a conversation. They get into trouble. So they do a lot of the things that Malik does, and that's
except for the fact that they don't understand like astrophysics. They've lost.
I'm just imagining like him trying to explain like theoretical astrophysics to a child, to Baeb, who's like,
yeah,
that one's pretty.
Yes, and it's pretty because
that one's also pretty.
It's an M. Never mind.
Because it's super big and pretty.
No, it's more like, why is that orange? Why is that yellow?
And then I'm like, I do the whole explaining until they ask me a question, and then I start explaining that, and then
they repeat it over and over again.
How big is space?
Why is the sun different from
me?
me?
Is it big enough to touch both sides at the same time?
Well, if you put your hand through a wormhole.
What's a wormhole? Why are they making holes?
Well. Worms.
Look, I got you worms. Can you make holes with them?
Oh God. Yeah. Let me show you how to make a terrarium.
What's the
This is boring.
Oh. You're boring. Not again.
But it was about that age. I was like,
Okay,
right. So I understand what A, B, C, D, E are, but how do you spell them? Oh, it's just a letter A. But no, how do you spell A? No, it's just a letter A. It took me like 2 years to get over that.
It's rough.
Yeah. When one starts crying, you're like, okay.
Spell the letter?
Yep. Because I thought that the A was just the component you use to make other words. But how do you actually spell A? I thought there was like an actual a word that was A.
Didn't they teach you the phonetic alphabet?
A, B. It's terrible. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because those sounds are not constant across words.
No.
A is not always
like,
A.
I'm gonna go watch the Bubba
sound.
Oh no.
Yep. I've done a lot of I've learned how to teach people to read. Oh, these children probably don't necessarily know how to read. They may be.
Some of them won't know how to read, and some of them won't know how to read anything but Jafar uses.
A good chunk of them are like below the age of kindergarten. They're like 0 to 3 years old. So there's at least like 5 of them that are probably going to be less difficult to figure out what to do with.
Did Jafar have always been bilingual?
Honestly, I
never
think
met
it's
a
because like
non-bilingual called. Jafar.
Hmm?
They've never met
Right.
a non-bilingual Jafar.
No one, everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
Don't ask. But the hardest ones, because like Akara is old enough and like savvy enough to kind of get what's going on and be able to like sort of pretense. I think the hardest ones are the like
God.
5 to 10-year-olds who are probably not savvy enough to like pretend that they didn't have this previous life and do all of the rigmarole, but they remember enough of it that they're going to have a harder time adjusting.
Sometimes kids forget stuff too. I think like
Yeah.
when you the age like 4 and 5, that's when you start remembering. But like
Yeah.
you could,
Which is why I'm like, I think the hardest ones are kind of that like prepubescent ones that aren't quite ready to like pretend they didn't live this life, but also still
Yeah.
remember some of it. They'll be the ones
once
that are
you're
hard to
8
replace.
plus, then that's kind of like the time where you remember a lot more.
So they'll be the kind of like the difficult ones. But like Akara's, she can figure it out. Like she's a sassy teenager. She's gonna fucking hate high school. She's gonna be like,
no.
I punched one of them. Why am I in trouble? They slighted me.
Oh no.
Malik's going to be on our side
I
for
wanted
that.
to do a special episode which is just Akara at high school. Just monster hearts.
Oh,
Oh.
She is definitely
Akara
the werewolf
solves all
skin.
her problems with
your conference.
yeah.
She
Yeah,
is the werewolf
she's-
skin. 100% she is the werewolf skin.
Oh yeah, she would be the werewolf skin. Just like, what did you say to me? You're stupid. Bam.
You are harming the one I love. Bam!
Good times. Good times.
Chauvin.
You're assuming that we can never put them in school. It's probably gonna be homeschooling at
They
best.
put, like, time jumped O'Neill in high school.
Yeah, and Cassandra went to high school. Or went to school. There's several episodes of her.
I forgot, this is a TV show that follows TV show logic. She's gonna go to school.
Yep.
It'll be a spin-off show.
She's probably gonna get, like,
It's the whole
2 weeks
spin-off,
of
the spin-off
intense,
show.
like, briefing on, like, what not to say.
Yeah, it's like a Disney Channel original series.
Oh my gosh, a Monster Hearts like spinoff would be fun.
The life and times of Akara.
Yeah, and she's got the, like, the Manit symbol on her forehead. And it's just like, no, it's just a religious thing for her particular people. Don't ask about it.
Yeah, when do they get those? Is it at the Primta, I think? Right.
I don't
Like, they probably
know.
get it when they
like,
get
Ryak
Primta.
has his before the Primter, I think.
Because like little children, I don't think have it.
I bet it's not consistent because TV show writers.
I don't think
Probably.
I've ever seen, like, any Jafar who are parts not have them. I think even, like, the kids that are old enough to have parts have always had them. Like, Ryak has his all the time, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the first time you meet Ryak is his Primta episode.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily like a good. He does
So
have
it could
his.
be that it's the print.
It would make sense. Like it's all the ceremony,
like
right?
Like a ceremonious thing. Yeah.
I think even the younger kids that you see occasionally have them. Jafar, forehead, symbol, age.
Yeah, it's also like unclear about if those are actually removable at all, because it's like you can get laser tattoo removal.
Yeah, if it's just a
Like
tattoo.
removable with surgery. But like, what is it made of?
So most of the tattoos, I think it's only the first prime that gets like a gold plate.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
One's in high
First
standing, get a
time
silver
get it
one.
like gouged and melted gold into it. It's real bad.
Yeah, one's in high standing,
That's
get a silver
intense.
one.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
Garak's
that's true.
wife had a silver one.
There's it's freaking intense.
Yeah.
Hmm. I guess it's like a 3-dimensional scar in your forehead then, so that's a bit more difficult to actually.
Well, hers isn't. Hers would be the tattoo. She's not like a prime or
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah, for the
like
kid-
even Garak's
for the
is just a tattoo.
Not so bad. That can probably just get hidden. But I see like why Teal'c was just like, I guess I'm keeping this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you just end up with a big old scar on your forehead instead.
Also, Teal'c was 100 years old in the show. Garak's younger than Teal'c.
That makes sense why he makes so many mistakes.
there was also that one character I can't remember the name of who did just have a horrible scar on his forehead.
Yeah, he
taken it off.
switched. I think he became like a bad guy or served a bad guy at one point.
I can't
Was
remember.
he-
Okay, so here's the thing that bothers me about the Tritonin that I keep getting really confused by is that Tritonin is very similar to the name of an actual drug on Earth.
Mm.
Oh yeah, like serotonin.
Tretinoin, yeah, which is an acne medication.
Oh.
So I'm like, why are we giving them acne meds? No.
Wow, what you didn't know was
Yeah, if you don't get your symbiote for long enough, you die from acne overdose.
Mhm.
You just turn into one giant pimple.
Acne overdose.
Yeah, you turn into one
Yeah,
giant
acne
pimple.
overdose.
I don't think anyone's ever said those two words in that order before.
hmm You turn into one. Just all the pimples get together into one giant pimple, and you're like, Tetsuo!
At least you got the reference right.
Acne overdose is one of the horrible kids from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, I think.
Nice.
Did you find the servers of Cronus are
Also-
fanatical?
Hmm.
Sounds
The
about
Jackal
right.
guards are most recognizable. There we go.
Oh, you'd be like that. You're not. Oh, this is because you killed them.
No, I'm Jackal Guard.
Oh, okay, right.
Hmm.
I lose track. There's lots of
From
animals.
here, it looks like your Smudge Guard, but
Well, no, they all have the Ra symbol because the Jackal Guard got absorbed by Ra, but they used to be Anubis' guard.
We do get a lot of people who are like, "What's on his forehead?" A lot in the chat.
I
Luckily, the chat answers it for us, but
Mhm.
feel.
Yeah, I think it's probably some sort of tattoo. So it's because if you can take off an old one and put a new one on, there has to be a way to remove it
yeah.
and change.
Because Anubis changed Sokars when he absorbed Sokar's dudes.
They probably just have like a magical thing that does it, right? Just like a poem you put it on the forehead and it just all does.
It is
for you.
Anubis. He's, yeah.
It's like a special. It's a thing a Karakesh can do.
yeah, I think also we're slowly developing our own method for Rain to get one, where it's going to be like the symbol.
Eventually, I'll have a handprint on my
The
forehead.
amount-
You would just get one of those
Sometimes
ink
Rain's
stamps
gone
and
like
just every
this.
time.
Oh my god, we need
I was
to get.
tempted during the episode to be like, I'm surrounded by children, and the kids here aren't doing so great either.
Thank you. Garrick was very responsible this episode. It's only
Yeah,
last
when
episode where
you
he comes to
when
tell
you
us.
nearly killed yourself by giving a kid your
It would
symbiote,
have taken 10 hours for Garrick to die. It's fine.
and then didn't,
I
and then
won't
took the
care.
kid almost back to their friends to inform them of what had happened, but then didn't and just left with them, so they apparently disappeared.
She made the choice, and I advised her against it. But she was capable of making her own choice. She was free-willed and aware of the facts enough.
And then her friend got kidnapped.
She was, informed. She made
and
an
our
informed
friend also
decision.
got kidnapped. Everyone got kidnapped.
A lot of people. A lot of people got napped. Kid and otherwise.
Kang nap.
Kid
Hey,
and
man,
adult nap.
tried. You try watching 20 kids,
Also, I love
and
the
also
complete.
like 10 of them have the measles.
I love the complete lack of the Kangarak ship. Great.
These are
They're
so awkward. I love it.
Oh dear.
It's what happens when you get two people with negative charisma.
Yeah, ships are hard in this show with all of you having negative charisma,
Except for one.
except for Rain.
Rain can sail a ship competently.
Yeah. Rain
but-
just needs to go for it. Go for a ship.
But Rain still
Yeah,
has his wife
Malik,
around.
you
Just
can
him and his
steal your
wife are
ship
separated.
anytime.
What?
Isn't Rain and his wife are separated because of the issues of the PTSD and everything?
You don't know much about it, but it's roughly in that area, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we've gleaned so far about knowing the specifics.
Yeah.
I
We
have
don't
to
know.
imagine, like, so Malik was definitively like he was heterosexual, right, before blending, but like Raziel's been in a bunch of different bodies, so his concept of gender is very different. So I imagine there's definitely points where you just hear like that person looks good, just like kind of indiscriminately.
Just randomly, like Malik's like eating, and someone goes past, and it's just in his back of the mind. There's a
Classier than that, he would not catcall.
Yeah, And also they can't whistle because they got claws.
I don't think I didn't mean it like Malik would say out loud, but in the back of Malik's mind.
Yeah,
So.
I guess being I don't understand how the gender of a symbiote works.
They
but
don't have one, I think.
Yeah.
Is the answer. Well, some are queens. They're more like bees. They're basically either a queen or not a queen, and that's the answer to it. And like some of
Okay.
them seem to have preferences in terms of host, but you see that less so, I think, with the Tok'ra.
yeah.
Because like
So-
I know Jalinar had a female host and then a male host and then Sam and then was dead.
Yeah, because they don't keep the host very long because they're immortal life hosts, right? Whereas the Gould, because they can infinitely keep the host forever because they just use a sarcophagus.
Yeah.
They
Tok'ra
can-
hosts eventually age and die. They
Hmm.
just live for a really long time, comparatively.
The
Gould-
Tok'ra are probably just like, is there a human that will be sympathetic to my cause? And they're probably short
Yeah.
on those all the time as it is.
Yeah, so they're slightly less like specific about it. So I imagine that their level of perception of gender is like, are you queen or not queen? Like it is somewhat of a dichotomy. It's just unrelated to what we are used to as a concept.
So yeah, flitting between people of various gender, they probably just kind of go with it, and that's what I was wondering. Like,
That's up to you how much that influences Malik's personal perception as opposed to just like hanging out with your gay friend who likes to, or your bisexual friend who just constantly tells you everybody looks great.
yeah, I was wondering how far the minds blend. Like, does it?
I think it's a question of time.
Yeah, they practically end up becoming one person and personality
Yeah.
in most regards. So I think over time, Malik would just become a lot more like free.
It's also
Open.
probably a measure of like how much you have your guard up and how much the symbiote has their guard up, because there's certainly an
Yeah.
element of that in the
Oh yeah,
blending.
yeah. Raziel definitely has a lot of.
But Malik is also
Guard up.
incredibly
Parents.
open.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Malik just talks a lot. I don't think that's different.
He doesn't talk about his feelings. He just talks.
Mm.
Good point.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. Like over the course of the relationship, the two personalities begin to merge, which makes for a really interesting. Because like Raziel is functionally a composite personality of all of the previous hosts.
I imagine since Gord like live forever, then eventually the mind of the host, which is subservient to the Gord, just disintegrates completely in case of like gender preference, and the Gord just has complete dominance. It's just like, I just like everyone that I want because they're mine.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of gold, the human host has no impact on how the gold feels. They just squash that down.
Unless they keep the same host for over a millennia, in which case they start to go senile.
Yes, well, there's that part. That's a separate piece.
I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call Garrick's new symbiote? Because is this like Junior 2 or is this like Junior Junior? Because this is a new one now. Junior's been passed on to Akara.
Buddy, I vote Buddy.
Buddy. Buddy and Junior.
Gotta give him names.
No, I like it. I also enjoyed my Jaffa naming tactic of take normal name, put apostrophe in it. Arl.
So it works, right?
Arl.
This is
John.
Solid choice there.
Mm-hmm.
It works.
That's gonna be good.
A good one is
Well,
always
I'm
just
excited
take a
for
normal
next
name, and then you put the apostrophe in, and then you take the first vowel and add that to the end, and then be like, some extra consonant maybe? So you take Gary, and you go, Garak, there we go.
Or you just
Except
steal
that's not
from
how
the
you
first
got to
name.
your name.
It's not how I got to my name, but it works for a lot of Jafar names. Anytime you need a Jafar name, you just chuck an extra vowel and then a consonant on the end.
Like Piglan.
A little bit, yeah.
This is my Jafar friend Ixnay.
Ipso, what's it? Philotext.
On the what?
Entree. This is my
The
other
philotext
Jaffa.
everyone uses
Entree.
the fake Latin everyone uses to like do default filling of text boxes. Ipsos.
Lorem ipsum.
Lorem ipsum.
Lorem, yeah, that one.
This is my other Jaffa friend, Lorem and Ipsum.
They're a
Nice.
double act.
Oh no.
Yep.
That's reminding me of the Christmas special where we had Missile and Toe that I watched over the break.
Aww.
In my current Blades in the Dark, we've got some thugs as part of our gang. We didn't know what to call them. We started with 2 though, so we're like, they come as a pair all the time, so that can be Daisy and that can be Chain.
Daisy Chain. Daisy Chain.
I love it.
And it got
and
worse
so
from
when
there.
we got more,
Mm.
we ended up with Rose and Thorn and all sorts. It was fun. It was
I like that.
Very charming.
So with that, we're gonna end the after show. Naming conventions. Better or worse than Emma Watson?
It's Emma Thompson.
Emma Thompson? Okay.
Emma Thompson and Natalie Portman. Dear to my heart.
Next week we find out if the whole program's screwed.
Well, there is a good chance that we just go, you know what, sod it, we're doing our own Stargate program on another world with kids.
Yeah, we go to your Salem. We start a new
we
Stargate program from there.
Smart.
They've got it all set up already. We've become friends with Vita.
Yep.
Oh
Perfect.
yeah.
Real Vita, not fake Vita.
Not fake.
The radiation might be a problem.
We just need to not go outside. It's fine.
I'm immune to radiation. I'm not immune, I get a bonus.
So Zakara, you guys will be fine. Yay! Together. Friendship.
Friendship! Anyway, bye!